Hey y'all. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate all my folks who are here with me live. Hey y'all. So good to see you all. So we have a lot to cover. Cover is the actual word. And I'm committed to staying here as long as you have questions. I know some of you have emailed your questions in. I'll get to those as well. And then we'll do some Q&A toward the end. So really the whole purpose of this is to talk about creating online income for whatever way that fits for you personally. And I know we're doing this on the platform of YouTube, which is, everything on YouTube is create money online. Beep, 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 beep. Like it's just a lot, right? So we're going to calm it down. We're going to make sure that you find out where you fit into this online economy so that you can create, whether you're looking for side income, whether you're looking for when you want to transition fully online, or whatever your need is. So I've been getting this question a lot. People are interested in creating online income and they're asking, where do they start? And so for those of you who know me, my answers always are like, it depends, because it always does. So this is going to depend on where you are at. And so I wanted to kind of create these levels for you so that you can say, okay, I'm in this level. And when I'm in this level, I need to concentrate on this, because there's a lot of information out here and it can be overwhelming. And I'm hoping, I don't know how good of a job I did. I'm hoping that I can help you feel a little bit more confident in the decision that you're going to make. Again, whether that be side income or transitioning full-time online. So for those of you who have never met me before, hello, I'm Cinnamon. I'm from Washington, D.C., moved to Lisbon, Portugal about 2 years ago. So this is important for me to create this type of content because I've been here. I know in the US, particularly, people are leaving their job by the truckloads. They just over it. And with so much going on as the world is going through its changes, you start to reevaluate what's important in life, right? And so many of you know my story. You know, I lost everything 2008, 2009 recession and had to learn and start all over. And so I understand what that starting over thing looks like. So I'm hoping that I can give you a little bit of insight so that if you take the initiative and actually execute, then you'll be in a good situation. Now, nothing I am talking about is anything that's going to happen overnight. Okay, like you're going to have to put in the work, you're going to plant the seeds, and then you can reap the harvest whenever it is that it works out for you. But you're going to have to do the initial steps first. Okay, so this isn't the glamorous part, guys. It's work. All right, so let's get into it. Again, thank you everyone who is joining me live. Hey y'all. And we're going to do Q&A toward the end. Now, I'm hoping that you all will participate with me. It depends on how many people I have on here live as we go through the content. If you have any questions, I will try real hard to go between the content and your questions, but we'll see how that works. All right. So let me, I did not set that up first. I didn't set up my keynote. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, I did. It's right there. Okay, good. All right. So the first thing, let's start off with, let me move my little thing over to my nice little graphic I made. Ew. Okay. So let's talk about the levels of creating online income. The first level is going to be your value contribution. Second, audience building. Third, service products offerings. And of course, your fourth is scaling. Don't worry about scaling. We're not going to spend too much time about scaling in this particular training, because what I'm assuming is a lot of the audience are still at the upper levels. That scaling isn't really what we need to focus on, but I still want to tell you about it so that you are aware. So let's get into it. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is your value contribution. Now, this is going to be basically what you are going to contribute to the world based on what you do. Okay. So if you operate in a form of desperation, like I just want to do something to make money, you're going to really create a crappy product or service, just point blank, period. That's what you're going to do. If you approach it like I want to provide value, even when it's time to create content, what could I put out of there that's valuable to people? That is how you turn and create a company that's actually profitable, that people care about and people want to work with. So when you think about this, I want you to think about what value can I provide versus how can I make some money? Okay. So if you operate in that space, everything else that we're going to go over today is going to be substantially easier. Okay. So let me talk a little bit about that. So many of you are here because you have seen me document an experience of learning something new. I moved to Portugal from Washington, D.C., didn't know what I was doing. I documented that process. So what I'm asking you to do in your life, is there something that you've always been interested in starting, or something you've done before and you succeeded? What is it? Can you document something new or a process that will be helpful to the people who are interested in doing the same? Okay, so think about that. This is going to be your homework after this workshop. And if you know some things that you can go ahead and type it in the chat. I see the chat. I'm paying attention a little bit. But if it's anything you think of, what is it that you can document and show? There are a lot of people on social media now showing how they went through law school, how they went through medical school, how they built their life in a van. Think about this, anything in your life that either you want to start or you've already started, and you can document that process for someone who is interested in going through that journey, okay? Next one is whatever you're passionate about. Now, I say this one lightly because I'm the person, people like, go do what you're passionate about. Find your passion. I've never been a person who found a passion and can ride with it. But if you have been so blessed to find out what you're passionate about, run with it. Create content around that, okay? Don't forget to that passion comes off in your content. So go ahead and share the information with the people. Now, next one is hobbies. Okay, so hobbies can be anything. Let me tell you this. There is an audience. Audience could be so small. If you want to do acrobats and have 3 kids and drive a BMW and live in Wyoming, you can literally find an audience that is that specific. That is what we have done with technology. Many of you know my background is digital marketing, and the level of content and your privacy information is out here floating. If you want the audience that's that specific, you can do it. You can find that audience. Now, as far as your hobbies, let's say you are into drones. I know nothing about drones. I always pick examples that I know nothing about. But let's say you're into drones and you start creating a blog or whatever type of content you want about drones. How to buy one. What do you do for your first one in case if one runs into the air and hits a tree and now $1,200, $1,300 in the drain? How do you avoid that? Just questioning someone who's would be interested in having those answers. Think about whatever your hobby is. We have some folks that are hobby is fitness. You may be trained to be an engineer, but you are passionate about fitness. So go ahead and start to use these. Let's call it a side hustle for right now, okay? If that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable versus jumping all the way out there, I'm here for it, okay? So let's call this hobby. Create the content for the hobby or whatever it is that you're passionate about, your hobby and that type of thing. The last one, and this is expertise. This one, for those of you who have had some type of formal training, you particularly have a hard time transitioning how the world needs the content that you've just spent 963 years learning about, okay? So you can provide content and become the expert and create your brand and your marketing and your business around that online, okay? Since the world has gone through this thing, you know what it was, there's been an influx of doctors and medical professions that have been coming out online, sharing information that they know, and it's been well received because everyone was super confused around this time, and getting that type of insight from someone in that field is huge, okay? So consider everybody needs an online brand. Even if you are not showing your face, listen, companies are showing that they are not necessarily valuing their employees or you as a person. So even if just as some security for yourself in the long run, building a brand, whether it be corporate or personal, is almost necessary, particularly in this economy, okay? So hopefully you get that. I'm not going to beat that in your head, but if you have your expertise, you can start to do what the next level is creating content, building an audience. So right now, look at me. If you don't know how you're going to be valuable and how you're going to give to the audience that you were hoping to serve, don't leave this level, okay? Don't leave it. Don't go nowhere, because I need you to understand that you need to be valuable to the audience that you want to serve. Meaning you're just providing good information. You're not just trying to suck people dry and take, okay? You have a very giving mindset, and that is going to help you in the long run, okay? So let's talk about action steps. I don't want you to leave here and not know what to do right now. So if you are staying in the level 1 area, this is what you're going to do. You're going to determine how you are going to add value to the market. How are you going to provide, based on your experience, add value that's going to help someone? Understand, when you give people an epiphany, when you help someone, if they're not like jerks and narcissistic, they're either going to want to help you back, or they're going to want to work with you, or they're going to want more because you genuinely help them. But if you go in this and you're like, what's in it for me? Like, if you, no, don't do that even in your business or your personal relationships. Don't nobody want that person, okay? Steps 2, consider your unique contribution. Now, I get this question a lot. People are saying that the market is saturated. What do I do? How can I contribute? There is only one you, okay? No one can replicate that. Now, I am going to encourage you, whatever lane you want to get in, get educated in the lane. Don't just be out here in the street saying you want to do something and didn't figure out how to do anything. Don't do that. Get super, super educated in whatever it is you're saying you're going to do, so that it's you, your personal, your newness, okay, in addition to the education that you provide. No one can be you, but consider how you can be unique in the process if you feel like you decided to pick a market that happens to be saturated. And saturated, it usually isn't, but that's how people feel, so they just don't make a move. And we'll talk about that in a bit. All right. Step 3. This is the biggest one. This is the biggest one that people struggle with, and that is get super clear on your target audience. I did a training a couple weeks ago on target audience where I spoke about it for an hour in detail. The link is in the description if you did not see that training. This is going to be the make and break of you, honey. This is going to determine if you are going to make money or if you're not. Because if you do not get super clear on your target audience and what you do to help this target audience, you're going to be stuck getting either contracts that don't pay well, frustration, people who kick tires, and like you're gonna struggle. Because when you make it very specific who you help, with the expectation that you know better than someone else about how to help that market, and I'll make that make sense later, you're gonna get paid more. That's just what it is. Okay, so I need you to be super clear on your target audience. And if you need help with that, we'll do some drills later on today if people are still struggling with that. But that's going to be your most important thing, figuring out your target market, okay? Now, I know people want to go massive in general initially. And if you're coming from corporate America, you may be stuck in that mindset because you are working for a corporation and this existed for probably sometimes generations or decades. But when they first came out, 9 times out of 10, they were super specific as to who they help. Once you start to build the foundation of who you help, then you can expand. You do not expand first, okay? You have to go super specific. And for those of you who've seen my training before, y'all know I beat that in your head like ridiculously. All right, level 2. Now it's time to build an audience with content, okay? And this is the part that people either like or they love it, right? So you can build an audience a variety of ways. And, But content, even if you are going to pay for ads or you want somebody to find you, through some other paid means, you're still going to want to build content because this helps people learn who you are before they even meet you. Okay, so they experience your content. So who I am in this training is who I am when people work with me. There's no surprises. So if someone decides to work with me and then I'm like, well, yeah, so what you could do is, you can, they're going to be like, who are you? You are totally not the person that, you know what I mean? So this is your way of introducing what you can do for the client in addition to how working with you would be. All right. So we're talking about building with content because I need you to understand the more content you have out there, the more opportunities you have to close more contracts. Your content is your 24-hour, 7 days a week salesperson. And if you don't have the funds to purchase a sales team or hire a sales team, your content is going to be your next best bet. And content is something you need to put out there. Okay, so we're going to talk about audience building. We talked about that. All right, so there's a variety of ways you can build your audience, right? And so let's talk about 2 of these in particular that I really want to get you to understand, and that's Facebook and Instagram, right? So let's talk about that. Understand that Facebook, now, first, it's important to know if you haven't met me before, I have a digital marketing company. That is what I do in my day life. So Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same people, right? They're both the same company, and WhatsApp, but we're not talking about WhatsApp. So when you are trying to build a brand, what Facebook has done in the past, before they acquired Instagram, right? Instagram was a separate old company. It was doing its own thing, minding its own business. Facebook was doing business like this. Facebook is considered what we like to call in the digital space an intranet type of marketing, meaning your customer has to log in order to see the content, unlike your Quoras, your YouTubes, your Pinterest, okay? Why is that important? Their monetizing level. So Facebook is a publicly traded company. They have to make money for their shareholders, right? The way they make money is selling ads and harvesting your data. Okay. So Facebook, before Facebook came out, we really, as marketers, had no idea to connect you, the individual, with all this random data we had out in the cybersphere. It wasn't until Facebook came out and people were willingly saying what school they went to, who their friends were, where they work, how much, all of that. People just was giving that, who they dating, all of that, just blah, blah. People were giving that. So Facebook took that, and that is one of the reasons they're one of the most powerful companies in the world, because of the data that they have. What does that matter with you? So Facebook had business pages. People could create a business page, and then they can attract people to it. People can like it, and then you can communicate with those people, right? So what Facebook had ended up doing is, because they get paid off of ads, they reduce the amount of viewing you could get to the people who said they wanted a relationship with you. They liked your page, they engaged, whatever. Facebook said, well, in order for you to see the people who said they like you, you're going to have to pay us. Now, that is what Instagram is doing. It's a Facebook company, right? Why am I telling you this? What was the relevancy? Because I need you to understand it if you're creating a new brand, okay? As far as organic reach and reach you might have to pay for. At the current time, Instagram is a relatively hard platform for new people, if you haven't already done it yet, to create a new audience. Not to say it's impossible, but we won't talk about the vast majority of people. It is a bit of a challenge, because what you'll find, if you have a business profile on Instagram and you're getting all the analytics, you may find that you're not getting enough reach. Like, you'll have 20,000 followers and maybe only 100 people engage with your content. That is because Instagram is limiting how many people can see it, particularly if you have a business page, because they want you to pay. I know you've been on Instagram and you've seen all these random people with unnecessary ads, and you were like, what? Maybe I'm just speaking for myself. But I wanted to let you all know about Instagram and Facebook, particularly if that is where you choose to build your audience. If you choose if you choose to build your audience in Facebook, I would recommend a Facebook group in opposed to a Facebook business page. Okay. All right. Let me make sure. What else? Now, many of you, by the droves, in fact, when I asked for the questions that you had, everyone was like, I don't want to show my face. How am I going to create content without showing my face? So I have some stuff for you as well. Don't worry. Let's go back to the presentation. Make sure I'm covering what I wanted to cover, because I get distracted. All right. So LinkedIn, for my folks who are doing B2B, LinkedIn is a great place to be. So great that I know I need to be there. I just haven't. And we're going to do a LinkedIn workshop at some point once I organize it together. But LinkedIn, Quora a little bit, are relatively decent for a B2B type of relationship. Okay. All right. So this is just showing for all the people who wanted to do faceless marketing or audience building. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now, there's a couple platforms that's going to be good for you if you don't want to show your face. Now, if you don't want to show your face, you can consider doing a blog. Now, hear me out. Even if you don't want to create like a full-time business online or that type of thing, I kind of feel like everybody needs a blog. And it doesn't have to be anything too serious, but I want you to think about the benefit of having online real estate. Once you create these platforms, these are assets for your company. My Instagram, my email list, my social platforms are all assets for my business. And that's what I want you to think about these various platforms. Granted, it is social media, but it is also an asset for your business. But get this, it's an asset that you are renting. Okay. You do not own Facebook. You do not own Instagram. And if they are feeling like they don't like you anymore, they can kick you off. And based on you sending, signing over your whole life for their random terms of service that they quickly flash in your face, you don't really know what your rights are, okay? Let's be honest. So you are having an asset that you're renting, but you also need to have an asset you own, and that is going to be your email, your CRM, your email marketing, your website, those type of things that you own. You want to take people off of your rented space, and you want to bring them back to something you own. Now, again, we're in level 2. We're only talking about audience building right now. I don't want you to go and say, well, I want to create a course and I want to do this. You haven't even built the audience yet, pumpkin, sweetheart, love muffin. So you go and you take these courses, some courses that I'm sure I'm going to end up teaching. You're going to do all of this, but you didn't build your audience yet. So once you build this course or you do this other stuff and you now have any customers, that is the reason, because you didn't do step 2 first. You didn't build the audience. So again, let me stay focused. We're talking about Faceless and podcasts. Let's talk about podcasts for a minute. So I know podcasts is a thing that people like because they feel like their face isn't able to be shown and they can have a good time. Podcasts, not to say they're not there yet. They're not there yet. They may get there. But when you think about someone try that again, Sin. It's live. Forgive me. When you think about someone searching for something specific, they go on Google. And when you Google yourself, when was the last time a podcast result came up for you? Probably very little, if not none. But when you Googled something, when was the last time a YouTube video came up? Okay, so that's a big deal. Now, one bias, Google owns YouTube, so they can do things like that. But as right now, the technology for Google to be able to read what a podcast is saying, we're not there yet. Now, if you're going to do a podcast, you need to incorporate a blog along with it that has transcribed the podcast. Why is that important? That's going to be important for SEO. Okay. So like I said, Google can't necessarily hear what the podcast is saying. So they don't even know to send people to you or not. But if you have a blog associated with the podcast, Google is able to read because you transcribed it. Now, if this is your first time creating an audience, to do it that way is a lot of work. So as much as you're saying, I don't want to show my face, you're also going to end up creating more work for yourself if you want it to be successful. Now, podcasts are great. I'm not saying that it can't work, but just based on my experience, it's going to be a lot more work than you consider. Now, if you already have built your audience, then you can go ahead and do a podcast, and it will end up being an additional revenue stream for your business. Because when you are trying to do a podcast and you want to monetize it, but you don't have an audience, you can't monetize it. Like, who's going to say, I want to give you some money so that you can put my brand in front of nobody? Who's going to say that? So you have to show that you're worth advertising for. And most people who are creating content, they haven't gotten to that level to be able to sell themselves and produce a podcast. And be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you that's just how that is. So if you want to do a podcast, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying you need to know the complexities of the back end marketing part of it and how you are going to monetize from that. And if you are not equipped to be the salesperson and the producer, you're gonna struggle a little bit. Okay, so that's podcasts. And everyone's been asking me about podcasts. I'm not for them or against them. I just know that what you need to do in order to be SEO optimized. Because here's the thing. When Google, the largest search engine in the world, knows about you, they can send more people to you than you would have ever considered. Okay, but you got to be right with them. And there's ways of doing that. And the first thing is going to create content. Okay, so far as if you don't want to have your face seen, doesn't have to be shown. But even look at YouTube. There are faceless YouTube channels. If you're showing people how to do something, if it's on the computer, if it's behind the scenes, you don't have to show your face. So don't let that limit you because you're like, I don't want to be on camera. I get it. Okay. So Quora, it's great for those individuals who have some expertise and they want to write about it. Is it as good as it used to be? It's a personal opinion. Pinterest is also a good place because they're very search engine optimized. Okay, so if you want to create content and you want to do it on Pinterest, that's fine. What I am asking you to do, pick one. Don't try to be on 963 platforms. You are going to run yourself ragged before you even deliver the service to the clients you're saying you want to help. It's not going to work. It's going to be hard. I don't want that for you. Pick one. Whichever one floats your boat. Pick the mode that you're more comfortable. If you like writing, do the blog. If you prefer talking, do the podcast. If you prefer being on camera or not, I'm biased. Pick YouTube. So there we have. Okay, so for those of you who are just now building your audience, don't you go in step 3 and 4 that we get ready to talk about. I need you to stay here in level 2 and build your audience first, okay? So step 1, decide which format you prefer creating content in. This is going to be critical because in order for anyone to take you seriously online, and when I say anyone, I really mean computers, algorithms, the AI, artificial intelligence. In order for them to consider you important, you're going to have to create content, and a lot of it, not just one article, not just 2 articles. You're going to have to create content. And you want to do that in a format that doesn't stress you out, that doesn't give you anxiety, that doesn't do any of that. So pick the format. Listen, no one's going to give you this answer. Pick the format that works for you. Okay? I can't tell you what that is. I want you to choose that for yourself. Okay? Now, step 2. You're not going to like this. All right? But it's the truth. I need you to create 20 to 50 pieces of content. Sorry. You don't have to do it. If you're serious about this, and this is content in whatever field, whatever industry, whatever space you want to make money online, create the content. Because here's the thing. Like I told you, you are now working, you are leaving your boss, and your new boss is a computer, it's artificial intelligence, it's an algorithm. You know how many people online creating a blog? Like seriously, it's a lot. You know how many abandoned blogs there are out in here in the world, in the cybersphere? Everybody like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create a podcast. Every other day, there are millions of people that want to do this and they stop. So what I am telling you is that you should probably create, I'm saying 20, I really want 50, but you're going to have to create some content because nobody is going to be listening initially. Okay? Nobody. Nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to be listening. And you have to be strong enough to say, despite me not getting all these hundreds of likes or anything, then you're still going to go through with it. Now, that's going to set things up differently for you because even when life happens, because it's going to happen, you'll still have content that you can upload in a consistent manner, optimize wonderfully so that everyone, meaning computers, are able to say, oh, this person looks consistent. Every time they load something, it's around this topic. This looks like a good place to be. Let me send her over some people. Okay? Now, if you got one little baby, lonely, dusty article, it's not dusty. Your article is great. I'm sure your article is great. I didn't mean to call it dusty. I'm sure your article is wonderful. Okay? You got that one thing, this content out there. Why would they send more people to your house? Like, why? So just think about this. The more you accommodate the search engines and everything like that, the more they're going to give you some love. So help them out, okay? So give me 50 pieces of content, all right? So this is going to help you. I've seen more people start and give up, okay? All I want you to concentrate right now on is execution. When people say, well, where do I start? Do it. Like, that's the easy answer. Just do it, okay? Don't think about it and don't do anything else, again, if you haven't done the first 2 steps, okay? If you're out here trying to, first 2 steps, we're still on level 2. I'm sorry. Let's stay focused. Okay, step 3, load and optimize your content. So when I told you I want to have 20 to 50 pieces of content, you don't necessarily have to publish it if you're not ready. You don't have to publish it right now. I just want you to have it. If you want, keep it on your hard drive, keep it wherever. And then once you load it, you got to learn how to optimize it, which I can't necessarily go over in this training because it's a lot, but you want to optimize your content so that more people are able to see it. Look at me, depending on where you are growing your platform is going to determine how you optimize it. Understand all of these online platforms, they have different ecosystems. Instagram is different than YouTube. YouTube is different than TikTok, blah, 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 blah. So wherever you decide to create that content, Did I just shake it? It's a bug flew in here. Wherever you decide to create that content, you're going to have to optimize it in a different way. And so give me the content first before you worry about all of that. Is that fair? Because if you sit here and stress about how to optimize it, yet you didn't produce one form of content, like not one, then what was the point? What was the purpose? Okay, so produce the content first, and then we'll move from that, okay? So now we're at 3. And so we're going to talk about your services and your product offerings. And this is where the money comes in. This is the part y'all really wanted. Y'all want to know, how am I make some money? Like, this is the part you wanted. And there's a variety of ways to do this. But the reason why I am presenting this to you in level 3 is because if you've done a good job of determining who your target market is in level 1, this part becomes a breeze. If you did not figure out how you're going to create value, do that, build your audience, the way you deliver the part that makes the money is going to go to trash. Do you hear me? Are y'all here with me in my comments? We good? Y'all following me? Listen, you can develop courses, you could do workbooks, you could do all of that, but ultimately you want customers. So I don't want anyone who can hear the sound of my voice at this moment to concentrate on how they going to do a course, or how they going to do all these different service offerings, and you haven't even built your audience yet. I'm telling you, it's going to save you a lot of time if you focus on the right things. So let's start with consulting and coaching, because that is going to be your easiest transition. Okay, that's going to be the quickest way to your first $1,000 to $2,000 is going to be consulting or coaching. Now, if you haven't determined what your skill set is and what you're going to be teaching, how you going to consult and coach? What are we doing? We a step too early. Okay. So you got to figure that out as to who you are servicing, because you can't say that you're going to consult everyone. Prime example, many of you know in the target marketing, that's not what it was, target audience, we talked about if you're a web designer, insert your field here. If you just say, I'm a web designer, I help small businesses, that is entirely too general, because a small business can be a veterinarian, it could be someone who sells aquarium, it could be a baby, it could be anything. Are we saying companies that have $5 million or make $5 million or less a year? Are we saying companies that make 200-something thousand a year? Because those are they have two different sets of issues. So, and then we ain't even get into the industry. So when you consult or you decide to coach, you have to be super specific in the audience in which you want to work with. And then you will determine if the audience you're saying that you want to work with, if they can even afford to pay you. Okay. So, but service offerings, I digress. Your quickest way to money is going to be consulting and coaching. And that's a very easy technical way to process this. Meaning all you need is a scheduling software. You can use Calendly or Acuity. I use Acuity, but you can use whatever you want. You're grown. Okay. And then just put it on, you'll get a scheduling link if you don't have a website yet. You'll get a scheduling link. You send that to people who want to work with you. They pay the fee. You consult. Boom. That easy. But you know what makes it easy? If you build the audience first. Didn't build the audience first. You just sitting around here with your little consulting and coaching packages, and ain't nobody signing up. And now you frustrated and you gave up on what could potentially be something good for you just because you didn't do the steps prior to this. I hope y'all following me. Okay. All right. Affiliate marketing is also going to be, I'm going to do something on consulting and affiliate marketing separately because I think they deserve their own separate training. But let me walk you through this. Affiliate marketing is the easiest way to make money online if you try to provide what we say at level 1, value. Okay. So many of you working in industries or fields or have done something where you are using technology. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you decide, I want to start a blog. I've never started a blog before. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create content that revolves around me starting a blog and figuring out how that works and how to monetize it. So your YouTube channel or your content is specifically educating people who want to start a blog, and they're learning through your process. Okay, because there is a population of people that are never going to implement anything. They just, for some reason, want to watch other people live lives, but they won't execute their own. Sorry, that's just what that is. So you create content for whomever, people who are going to execute, people who are not. Okay. So in that process, in order to get a blog, you need things. You're going to need a website. You're going to need hosting. You're going to need a domain. All of those services have affiliate programs. Okay. So if you teach people how to create the blog, and this is just an example, folks, whatever it is, insert your industry here, you can get a commission for everyone that you refer to this company. So great thing about affiliate, you don't create the product. You don't even deal with the customer service. If this is something that you're trying to transition from, affiliate is like the best thing ever. You can create a blog teaching someone how to do something, and literally it's nothing but affiliate programs or offers there. Now, because step one, you were concerned about creating value for your customer, you're only going to offer companies that matter, that are good, that have the same integrity that you are operating your business in. Don't just be out here referring things because your commission may be great, because that's going to end up biting you in the foot. That's not how that saying goes. Oh, it's biting me somewhere else. Sorry. It's not going to work for you. Because ultimately your trust is the most important currency that you have with your audience. And if you're just out here doing horrible things and not considering what your audience needs, it's going to show and it's not going to work out well for you. That is why we started this by saying you want to make sure that you give value and your value contribution off the break. Again, if you were just starting, consulting and affiliates are going to be your best bet, okay? Or the easiest way. Courses are great. If you know how to do something, anything, you can create an online course for that, and that can be a revenue stream. Everything that we're talking about is going to end up filtering in your multiple sources of online income. You can have consulting, you can have courses, you can have affiliates. What I'm telling you is start off one after the other. If you attempt to do it all, it's going to be overwhelming and it's not going to work out well. Okay. Workshops. I love me some online workshops. Okay. They are the best because you teach, you help your customer win by teaching them whatever they need to do in an hour to 90 minutes. At the end, they have a result. Good night. Thanks for coming out. That's it. You didn't have to go out and build this massive software to create and launch an online course. You didn't have to do all this massive stuff. Once you deliver the content, good night. Online workshops are like the best. Okay. Now, again, I know y'all getting excited about like the tech and the what we can sell. But again, if you have not completed levels 1 and 2, don't you come over here. Don't come over here. Because if you build your audience, you don't even know what you're consulting about. You can guess and say, oh, maybe my audience wants this. And then you put it up there and your audience didn't want that. And now you out here trying to sell something they don't want. When you develop and build your audience first, before you build a product, they are going to tell you what they want. You're going to hear the constant questions coming over again. People are going to say the same thing. And you're like, maybe I need to create some content on that. Or maybe I need to create a course or a workshop or find companies or software that will help my audience and get an affiliate commission or do some coaching. You following me? Are we here? Membership. This is a great place to be. Membership, you get continuous money every month or however you want to do your membership, whether you're doing it quarterly or whatever. Many have heard of people doing, Patreon, which I didn't really understand why people would do Patreon and have a third party do their membership versus just doing it themselves. I'm still not understanding that all the way, but membership is a great place to be. I do not recommend you concentrate on membership as your first product. It is a good ancillary product, but your first product is going to be something that I would not recommend because it is a lot of commitment. Okay, so your courses are not necessarily as much commitment because once you create the course once, you can continue to sell it. Once you do the workshop, you can either sell the recordings or you can do more workshops. When you're consulting, you there for that hour or for that, 12 weeks, however long they hire you, and you're done with it. Membership, you have to kind of create consistent value every month, quarter, or whatever you're doing in order for people to stay there. So the more mature you are, in my opinion, in your business, the easier it is to do that. But it's a great thing. So definitely consider membership. Done for you services. We all know this. I'm not going to go through all of them, but wanted to tell you that these are the ways. workbooks. For my CPAs, my accountants, there is a whole bunch of people who are struggling on how to create their books correctly. You can literally create a workbook or a video training of letting people know how they're supposed to do that correctly so they can have their books set up. And just the other problems that you see your clients go through, go ahead and create something that's valuable to help them not do it. All right. How long have I been on here? Am I talking too much? I am. Okay. All right. Let me go to my next slide. All right. Training done for you. Okay. All right. Here are your action steps if you are in level 3. Level 3, since you built your audience first, you most likely continue to get the same questions over and over and over again. This is your audience telling you that this is what they need. So listen to them. The reason why I want you to focus on your audience building first is because you aren't so busy doing and creating all this other stuff. You're able to listen to your audience, okay? And that is what will ultimately transition to you providing a very good product or service, because you're listening to the customers who will ultimately want to work with you. If you just out here trying to create services and offerings and money and all of this, and you ain't even talk to your customers, you gonna create something that didn't work out well. I'm telling you this, like just trust me on that. All right, determine the best format for delivering a valuable product or service. Now, there's certain software that will help you streamline this. I don't want you to get caught up on that. If you contact me or whatever and you're saying I'm at level 3, then I'll tell you what that is. If you are not there yet, which I feel like my audience is not that, but y'all can prove me wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want you to focus on the tech quite yet. The only tech I want you to get right now is your email marketing software. Get that right now. Everything else, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. All right, prepare a marketing and launch strategy for your product or service. Again, I'm not sure that my personal audience is there yet, but if you are and you tell me you are, then we'll talk about it during Q&A. If you want me to spend time on step 3, I absolutely will. Okay, is that it? All right, now it's questions. Ooh, okay, so I ran over in the presentation a little bit because I talk a lot. So I'm gonna have the questions that the people email to me. We're gonna address those first, and then we're gonna come on live. So if you are on here live with me, thank you for sticking around and talking to me. Be sure to put a Q by your question so that I know your question is a question and not that you're just communicating with somebody in the community, okay? Fair? All right, so let's start with question number 1. Okay. All right. Can you put this in order of importance so that I know what I should focus on first? Website, social platform, business brand. That is, that's a good question. Okay. So y'all not gonna like this, probably. Your first most important tech that I think you need to concentrate on is your email marketing software. That's going to be your first thing. If those of you have been watching my journey, particularly with this particular brand, y'all know I didn't have a website. I didn't do anything. I was just creating the content. If you wanted information, I gave you a link to my email marketing software. What was a link to sign up to get on my list, and then everything else was built out from that. I was able to communicate with you all through the comments in YouTube, maybe if you came to talk to me on Instagram. That was before the website was created. Because my business, my job is digital marketing, creating a website for me to do it correctly just stressed me out. I ain't feel like it. I ain't had a time. So I was like, what I know, because this is my industry, that the email part is more important, because ultimately what you need to do is set up lines of communication with your potential customer. And I had done that. I was doing it with YouTube, and I was doing it with Instagram, and I was doing it with my email, because I know if Instagram kicks me out, I still have my email. If something shut down, I can email all the people who care that, look, they done took me off the internet. Send your girl an email, because I own that. So I'm going to say the first thing you need to focus on is your email marketing or platform. You ain't got to necessarily market yet, but you need a way to get people off of these rented spaces that you are on and bring them back to something that you own. Okay, so that is, I'm going to say email first. Okay, social platform. So your social platform and your email marketing are going to work hand in hand. You're really going to do these kind of at the same time, because again, as much as I would say pick your social platform, you need to bring people back to something that you own. So for example, if you're doing it on YouTube, if you did step 1 and you concentrated on how you're going to be valuable to your clients, and if you narrow down your target audience, you may already know what your clients or potential clients struggle with. And you can create something super valuable for them that you could deliver an email, and that can keep you engaged with the person who told you, hey, I want some of this, okay? So your social platform, 1 or 2 max, I feel like. Because if you do more than 1, there are some people that they feel like creating content is their job. And for some people, that is their job. But if you're saying, I'm a doctor and I got time to create platforms on 633, create brands on 633 platforms, that's not realistic. You didn't even leave time for the service that you're saying that you're going to create. You just out here creating content. That's not what you want. Creating content does not pay. Well, for people who are content creators, it does pay you directly to create content. But for those of us who have jobs and we are using content to get more people, then that's a different situation, okay? So focus on 1 or 2 things and do that. I'm going to say, and this was a very good question, I appreciate you asking it. I'm going to say email, social platform, same time, but 1 or 2 social platforms max, until you build out. And those are the first things. Second thing, website. I don't want you to think that just because I didn't say website first doesn't mean that it's not important. It is absolutely important. It's just not as important at the very beginning on the execution level, okay? Business brand. So many of you, I'm assuming you're talking about like your collateral, how cute you look on your colors and all of that stuff. That's probably less important. Nobody's going to say, I'm not going to do business with her because I don't like her logo. Nobody's going to, no. And if they do you want to work with that person? That's weird, okay? So concentrate on the things that are important. Your business brand is going to be a little less important. Like many of you have been rocking with me for over a year or 2, however long I've been doing this. And, I just started throwing consistent colors at y'all. I ain't never do that before. I ain't care. To me, everything's going to be on execution because, again, this is my industry, so I know what kind of matters more than most. But don't focus on that. The brand is important, but it's not that important at the beginning. If somebody likes you, they're going to work with you. They could care less if, But, again, if you show that you have value, that's going to matter. All right, I hope I answered that. That was long-winded. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. I have so many ideas. How do I determine which one to focus on? That's a really good question. I get this question a lot. Okay, how do I know? Okay, so focus on the one you can give more value on. Okay, so you're going to have to create information and content that's going to be useful. It's going to be helpful. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to solve a problem. Now, even though you have so many ideas, which one would you enjoy providing often, even if nobody is watching? Because I told you ain't nobody watching initially, okay? And more people need to know that because people get frustrated because their content isn't getting 30 billion people watching it. And that's just not normal. I know you see these stories and social media out here acting like everything is like that. That's not how real life is, folks. So whatever you would enjoy doing, do that. Because this can I get on a soapbox for a second? I feel like if people in the world did more things that they enjoyed, we'd be living in a completely different space. Right now we see companies abusing employees, not caring about people's physical health, mental health, or anything. And the last thing you want to do is take your personal time and do something you don't want to do. Like, that's not what I want for you. That's not why I'm up here giving you this training and telling you to go and take your gift and give it to the world, okay? I'm not doing it because I want you to do something you don't like. Do something you enjoy doing first. Now, if you're saying, I got a whole bunch of things I want to do, which one can you provide the most value for? Not which one can you make more money. You heard me. Which one can you provide the most value? Okay? Do that one. And that's what I want you to focus on. Hope that helped. All right, guys, if you have any questions, we're going to do Q&A. I'm committed to staying here as long as you need. As long as we have the questions, I'll stay around and answer them. I just started my business and I want more clients and I don't know what to do. Honey, okay. Okay, so you just started a business. You did not tell me what your business is, what industry you're in, what you're doing, or anything like that for me to be able to give you an answer that would help you. But this is what I will assume. I will assume because you went super general on this question that you went super general on your target audience as well. Okay. And if you're not getting the money you want, if you're feeling like you are running around with a chicken with the head cut off and you don't know what to do, it's because you did not define your target audience well. Because the difference is you know what your target audience is struggling with, and then you know how to provide value. Providing that value gets you more customers. But if you're still out here saying, I help all small businesses, I help all medium businesses, I help all women who want to get in the workforce, that's not even the same. They're not even the same people. They're not. So you have to get super, super specific. And just on the way you ask this question, I'm assuming that you're not specific enough. I don't know, because you didn't give me any more information, so I'm sorry. So this was an email question because I put it in my slides, but I don't remember who asked me this question. So if you're watching this replay and you answer that question, then you know. All right. So we are going to go to Q&A, right? Okay. So if you have any questions, let me close that. Oops. What did I do? Whoops. Okay. You can't see that good. Let me close this real quick. Hey, y'all. Now I get to chat with you. I'm so excited. All right. So go ahead and put your questions in there so I can answer them. We got a lot. All right. So if you put a Q in there, I can easily filter. I know people want to know why I'm asking for a Q, because then in the software, I can filter where my questions are, and it makes it super, super easy. So that is why I am doing that. And then I will bring your questions over. Oh, some of y'all are writing dissertations, honey. So we'll see if we can fit this on the screen. All right. Okay. Let's see. How would you recommend moving when you're professionalizing this? Okay. Hold on. Dang, that's small. Can I make this bigger? Hold on, honey. Give me a minute. That's not what I want. It's not big enough. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I apologize. Can everyone see that? Nope. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. I know it's small. Give me a minute. It says, how would you recommend moving when your professional license is looked up leads to personal information, full name and address? How would you recommend moving? I don't think I understand the question, love. How would I recommend moving when you're, can you be more specific on what you mean moving? Do you mean marketing? How would you, I don't, help me out with that one, love. I'm so sorry. Come back to me on that one because I don't really understand the question. Okay. All right. Why is this stuff so small? Hold on. I'm not having fun with this being so dang on small, and I don't know why. Oh, because it's on 14. Let's bring you to 18. Is that too big? Sorry, y'all. I know it's dead space. Don't get alarmed. We're just trying to make things look much better so I can read. As soon as I made it look right, it left. All right, here we go. Now I can read that with my ancient eyes and my contacts. Okay. What is the timeline for 1 and 2? How long does it take to build your audience? Come on, guys. So that's going to depend on you. Like if you're taking forever to kind of create the content, no one's going to be able to tell you, oh, it's going to take you 2 months. That can't be the question. That can't be the answer you want from me. It's going to take you a year. Let's go with that. If you're consistent, if you're inconsistent and you're not creating enough content and you put out your full videos in 1 year, it's going to take you longer. I can't tell you how long it's going to take you to create your audience in an industry that I don't know, and I don't know how long you're going to create. So just on the short end, expect it to take a year. Whether you see anybody or not, just go ahead and do it. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, guys. If you have questions, put your questions in, put Q in front of it so that I know that this is a question. Okay. Now, question. Do you think any anonymous but engaging blogs can build an audience? Oh, you know what? Someone, Savannah, she emailed me some questions. I'm going to go over her questions too, and then I'm going to come back to you guys. Okay. Do you think any anonymous but engaging blogs build an audience to the point that let's bring his question back up because I got distracted and I didn't see all that. To the point that the people buy product. I'm worried people won't connect with me because they don't see me. Fair question, but it depends on what your industry is. So if you're saying you selling makeup and nobody saw your makeup, that's going to be a lot more challenging. But if you're talking about something like in the technical field, so again, I do digital marketing. Nobody cares what I look like. Half people that I work with don't even know. If they Google, they probably could have found out. They don't know what I look like. The thing that I am showing, so I have a completely different YouTube channel that is showing digital marketing stuff and tech. My face is not on that because digital marketing is all on your computer. I'm showing you on your computer how you do something. So it depends on your industry. Okay. So if you're saying something that does require your face, of course, somebody's going to want to see you, right? But if not, that's not necessary. So give me 2 seconds because Savannah, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, love. She sent me a series of really good questions that I think will help a lot of people as well. So one of the questions was, so Savannah is in the SEO digital marketing space, which is my industry. So I'm going to talk to you like I would talk to somebody who's interested in digital marketing. Now, again, folks, if we're doing Q&A, please, if you like extra sensitive and your feelings get hurt, but you want to talk about business, like I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm just going to be direct with you. And if that makes you feel a certain kind of way, this isn't going to be a good look, right? So Savannah, hope that is not you and you cool with me just giving answers. So Savannah is in the SEO digital marketing space. One of her questions, how do you invoice your clients? Good question. You have a lot of good questions, Savannah. How do you invoice your clients? Hourly rate or by project? Let's talk. Look, I'm going to do a training specifically on pricing, right? Because a lot of you all you're not pricing yourself right or well or whatever, right? So I will never encourage anyone to sell their product at an hourly rate because you are going to end up selling yourself short and it is impossible to scale. If you think about this, let's say you want to do a project and you want to do let's say you charge $40 an hour, $30 an hour, right? Now, there's a limited amount of hours you could charge because there's a limited amount of hours in a day. And there's a limited amount of customers you're going to be able to accept because of this restriction. Okay. So I'm always going to remember, not necessarily project-based, but I'm going to encourage value-based pricing. If you have never heard of that, Google it. Okay. You want to do value-based pricing. This means that you are getting charged based on the value you bring to the company. So for me, I do digital marketing. So I can set up a percentage of every extra customer that I bring to this particular client, right? And so mine is very industry specific. So because mine is so industry specific, I can say, if I bring you a client, I'm taking 20% of that. If you don't want me to take 20%, then we're going to increase our monthly fee, right? So that is the way that I do it. But if you guys don't know what value price marketing is, Google it. That is what I recommend. If it makes you feel better to do project, cool. But understand your whole goal is to grow your business, and you can't grow your business well off an hourly rate, because just consider, if you have to pay somebody to do the work, now you're lowballing this person that you need to be brilliant and great. And if you're only getting paid $40 an hour, let me back up. If in fact you're saying you just want to freelance, you don't care about vacations, because if you want a vacation and you ain't working, you don't make no money. So if you're looking at hourly rate stuff, nothing can happen to you. You can't get sick. Nothing can happen to you and you be okay and your business will survive. So hourly is going to be super hard. I'm never going to try to recommend that somebody should do that. Okay. So value-based, project-based at the low end, but value-based marketing is what I'm always going to recommend. Okay. All right. So another question, how do you convince your clients that you could do the work they wanted, especially when you don't have a portfolio, testimony, or examples? Okay, now I understand. All right, listen, do the work. And I'm not saying this to be funny, but if you think somebody's going to pay you to do some work that you haven't done or you don't know how to do well, like that's not even fair. If you are learning on the job and you don't know how to do what you're doing, then you need to test that out with friends, family, people who you know who own businesses. But don't ask somebody to pay their hard-earned money for you to do something that you don't know how to do. If you know how to do it, just do it. So for me, if there was a company that sometimes I would pick the companies that I wanted to work for. I would pick companies that I knew were already doing digital marketing, right? Because if you have to sit here and try to convince a company that's not doing marketing why they need to do it, that's just wasted time. Now they're going to be kicking tires because they scared. They ain't never done this before. Versus you picking a company that you already see is doing marketing. They just doing it wrong. So fix it. Show them. You don't need testimonies for that. If you go to that business owner and you're saying, you're doing this, I see, your SEO campaign is doing this because when I Googled you, this came up, and you're spending more money on this versus that, it's not going to make more sense. That was educating your customer And that's something they can use. But if you don't have, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just starting off, this may be the case. You may not have a portfolio, you may not have testimonies, you may not have examples, but do you know how to do it? If you know how to do it, just show you know how to do it. If you don't have any formal clients to say that, just do it. For those of you who know my friend Arika, this is basically what she did when she was doing web design for record companies. She recreated on her own time. She recreated websites of various recording artists that she thought their website was trash. So she redid it on her own time, and then she showed it as her portfolio when it was time to do it. And she that's how she got work with major brands, because she showed that she knew how to do what she was saying she wanted to do. So if you don't have this, just go ahead, do the work. Show your examples that way. The people don't necessarily have to pay you. Let's say it's the company that you want to work for. Show them how you would potentially create their website. Now, you can't do this with everyone, that's for sure. But if you strategically did some research on the company and you know that they could pay you the monthly fee that you're asking for, let's say you present to 10 companies, you close 2. And if they're paying you what you want, it was worth it. Okay. All right. So what kind of business insurance entity do you need required when you are organizing? Basically, insurance to protect yourself. Business owners are getting sued. Highly unlikely, but you got to protect yourself. All right. Here's the thing. People are only going to sue you when you're making money, right? If you're not making money yet, don't worry about it. I don't want you to focus on things that are relevant, and I'm not trying to be funny, but people will go and just get incorporated and do all these things. They don't have one client, like not one person. Okay. You know how many abandoned LLCs incorporate because people went and incorporated before they thought about how we're going to get a customer, because that part feels like work, and it is. But you're not a business until you get a client. So I will never give you law advice, insurance advice, tax advice, any of that, because that is not what I am. That is not what I do. I pay people to do that. You should pay people to do that. Y'all don't come on YouTube and ask. Don't do it. Don't, because you need to talk to people who know your personal situation. Taxes are not a blanket answer or a blanket statement that I can give anybody that's going to be beneficial. Go ahead and pay the people to do it. Now, if you can't pay the people yet, don't worry. 9 times out of 10, if you can't pay your lawyers or whatever yet, that just means you're not making the income for that to matter anyway. So I don't want you to focus on the things that aren't necessarily that important yet. If you are in a field that is hugely susceptible to lawsuits and that type of thing, you want to talk to an insurance person or a lawyer anyway. You know what I mean? They are going to tell you based on your personal circumstances or what your goals are, how you want to do that. And so from what you were talking about, you're talking about a global industry, right? So you want to do business with people all over the world. You're going to want to deal with a lawyer and a CPA that is educated on that thing. That's not anything you want to guess on. That's not anything you want to get from someone random on YouTube. You want to make sure that this is correct based on your set of circumstances. People may go out here and get LLC when they should have been a C Corp. Okay, but they didn't go and talk to nobody. They heard what their friends saw or they watched a video. Please don't make any of your professional development decisions that way. Talk to an attorney who went to school for this. Talk to an insurance person. Talk to a CPA to went to school for this, please. Because based on the global market, what's the same in the U.S., not the same in Australia. We have C Corp, LLC, partnership, limited partnerships. We have all that in the U.S. I have no idea what they have in Australia. That's a difference, okay? So you want to work with professionals that are in the country in which you reside, in addition to any countries that you may want to do business in. That's just going to be your due diligence if you're saying you want to be in business and you want to take this seriously, all right? Where do you register, especially? Okay, how did you convince your client? Okay, okay. I think I'm done with those questions. Okay, so she also asked if you don't want to be on camera. I think we addressed that earlier, but if you're in the digital marketing space, if you're in the SEO, no one needs to see your face ever. No one cares about what I look like in my industry at all. I show what I do, so you got to be able to show what you do. So if you want to create content, just show that. There are plenty of people on YouTube that you can look at that are in the digital marketing space. Some of them show their face, but a lot of them don't. So if you just want to show how you can be beneficial to the client, how you can get them lead generation, and understand digital marketing, folks, is a large thing. It can include email marketing. It can include SEO. It can include backlinking. Whatever aspect you want to be in, you got to be good at that for the industry you want to excel in. I hope that makes sense. And so I think I answered your questions there. All right. So it is 7 minutes after the hour. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? Okay. How did you get to where you are today? Mindset. I don't even know how to answer that. How did you get to where you are today in mindset? Okay. So I don't know, to be honest with you, but listen, if folks of you come from the struggle, you look, when you got to figure it out, guys, I lost everything, had to start all over. So I was a hustler and I grind and I execute before I lost everything. And then afterwards, there was probably a year of like at least 2 to 3 years of depression where I just didn't do anything. Okay. And then it got to this point, I was like, okay, I don't want to work all this time, which is what I did. And even though I lost everything, I dedicated all of my hours to corporations, everything like that. And then when I lost everything, I still didn't live this life I wanted. So when it was time to do part 2, I was like, okay, I want to be location independent. And so what are some things that can help me be location independent? And at the time, I chose digital marketing as an industry that I did not know anything about. But I took the time to read it and learn it and figure it out. And so I say this to you, to anyone who's listening, you're going to have to learn some new skills. If you want your life to be different, you're going to have to be different. And that may require learning some new skills. But I would say be around people that are also as ambitious. I mean, whether it be, the U.S. or even here in Portugal, everyone I know, they hustle, they are ambitious. And I think it's hard to kind of be around that type of circle and you not doing nothing. Okay. How would you bring your business to social media? Okay. Gotcha. I think I got it. All right. Ooh, that got big. All right. Okay. Why won't it act right? Come here. Okay. All right. My apologies. How would you recommend bringing your business to social media, YouTube, in the effort to get noticed, create an audience, and build clients when you're professional licensed research? Can you tell me your industry? I think I need to know your industry to help you out perfectly. So do me a favor, love. Just tell me what your industry is, and then we'll handle that. Professional license, divulge, personal information. They absolutely do. Tell me what your industry is, love. Is there a good blogging course you can share? Is there a good blogging course you can share for a person to learn how to set up, create, and maintain a successful blog? So this is what I'm going to ask you. Do you have 50 pieces of content? If you don't have 50 pieces of content to 20 pieces of content, I don't want you buying a course, y'all. I know, look, sometimes the answer is not in a course. I don't want it. Even if it's my course, don't go get it. I'm telling you, don't go buy a course until you told me you wrote 50 pieces of content. Remember, that's a step. That's level 2. If you're in level 2 and you didn't, level 1 where we didn't figure out how we want to add value, just go ahead, create the content. Once you create the content, then I would say if you need a course or anything like that, I mean, if you want, I could probably do a YouTube training on it, on how you optimize. It's not that, you can YouTube it. It's really not that difficult. The problem is people get so stuck on that part that they don't ever create the content. So now you done had 900 courses, but you didn't do the part that's necessary in order for it to work out well for you. So I'm not blowing you off on that. I hope you don't interpret it as such. But create the content for me. If you create 50 pieces, I'll tell you what to do personally. Create the 50 pieces first, and I'll tell you what to do. Hey there, do you have a course where your information is compiled in one place? No, I don't. Okay, do you have a course where your information is compiled in one place? I don't. Also, when are you starting back the Portuguese course? We're in it now, so I have no intention on starting it again. We may not do it again. I'm not sure. I don't want that pressure. So I do it when I do a course when it's needed. When it's not needed, I don't do it. So right now, everyone's in the course. So that is where we are. So again, guys, if you have questions, go ahead and do the Q so I know. And if not, we're going to roll out. Let's see. I might say nugget, get the ball moving in the content first. Yes. Mighty Savage. You got it. Okay, I like that. The nugget. Get the ball moving with the content first and go from there. If you don't take away anything I said during this time that we were talking together, take that away. Don't you go stressing over something that doesn't matter when you haven't created stuff that's going to build the audience first. That is why people feel so overwhelmed and they're like, I don't know where to start. Because the starting part is just creating the audience. And don't nobody want to do that because it feels icky. They're like, well, I don't want to be on, display. I don't want to do this. But let me tell you something. If you are creating value for your customers and they need it, like it will actually change their life, don't you want to give that to them? Like, isn't that important? Like, isn't it? It's like part of your journey and destiny to do that for them. So just do it. Everything else, I promise you guys, I'm not telling you to do anything I haven't done or haven't done for people. But what I do see, the major roadblock is people get caught up in all this other stuff that doesn't matter yet. So save this video, share it for somebody who struggling and not executing, because that's who this is for. And stay in your levels. Okay, if you haven't done level 1, you haven't figured out your target audience, then why are you in level 4? Why are you in level 3? Don't do that. Okay, so I understand. Okay, let me start writing. Yes, Bill, start writing. Thanks for the reminder. Absolutely. Okay, so what'd you say? I said, you literally said all that at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry. It's okay. Look, it's okay. If we got to say it as many times as we need, it's because it's super easy to feel like you want to work on all this other stuff. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter. Focus on how you're going to give value to your people. And I promise you the rest will work. So someone just asked me if I have all this information compiled. And of course I don't. And the reason why I don't, well, let me tell you this. What I'll start doing, not yet, I ain't ready. I will start to break things in the levels in which we started this, okay? So the first level, I'm probably going to put y'all on some email marketing because I don't want you building websites or doing any of that stuff if you don't have that part right. Here's a good thing, guys. If you learn these skills for your business, this will change your life. It is basically, I sound so like YouTube cliche, but it's like printing money. If you want to fund something and you know how to do something and your expertise or whatever, you can literally create something of value and sell that. But it has to be valuable and you have to market it to the right people. Not everybody's going to be the right people. And considering the marketing, if you're converting at a 2% level, then that will show you how many people you need to be in front of to actually convert it into the sales and the money that you want for your particular business, okay? So many of you know I live in Portugal. If you're living out the country, you may not even need that many sales to pay for your lifestyle in another country. If you work for a corporation and you're saying, okay, 1 hour a day I'm going to dedicate to writing my blog, okay, then do it. All of this is going to boil down to execution. It's not even that hard. I'm not making up anything that listen. Okay, so once again, bet. All right, so let's see. Should I create 50 pieces of content and then schedule a consult with you? You can either do that, or if you do the 50 pieces, yes, you can schedule a consult, or I'll just do a class like this because I want more people to get it. And 9 times out of 10, the questions you have, somebody else will have it. And really, I just want to create the content that when I was struggling and I couldn't even get out my bed and know what to do, I want to create content that helps people know what to do. Now, if you want me to work with you specifically based on your thing and I can't answer it generally, then you are going to have to schedule a consult with me. But if it's something that I can answer generally and I can help other people in the process, then I can jump on just like this. We can do a training. You maybe come on camera with me if you want. Okay. Once I get my 50 pieces, all right, you'll schedule a call, bet. All right, folks. So if you don't have any more questions, I am going to leave. Oh, that's so sweet of you, love. Thank you. I appreciate you, love heart. I am going to leave. If you have any other questions, going once, going twice, put a Q so that I know that it's a question. I appreciate you. Think and living boldly. That was really sweet. This is what you want to do. Go ahead and create the content. What you're going to package it in and what you're going to put it in, we'll cross that bridge. But I don't want you to get so focused on that you don't execute. and you spent so much time in a course that has nothing to do with something you didn't do at first. Okay. I appreciate you. All right. So we got some more questions. Will this be, hey twin, how are you, love? I miss you. Oh, thank you, dear heart. That's my DC family right there. DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I miss y'all so much. Okay, all right. So let me get rid of that one. All right, so let's see. Okay, will this be a part of the playlist on YouTube? The digital marketing playlist. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna stick it in that playlist. So that if anyone has any questions, you can go. Anything that's usually online income related, I usually stick it in the digital nomad playlist. So yes, this will absolutely be there. And what I'll do for those of you, I'll cut this up into little baby pieces, so you're not stuck having to listen to it however long we've been on here video. I'll cut it up. I also did some FAQs for Portugal that I haven't cut that video up to. So I'll try to cut the video up so that it'll be small, digestible pieces. Okay. So give me a minute. Show me some grace on that, because I just am all over the place. Okay. Massage therapy. Oh, that's your industry. Oh, honey, we talk. Listen, you come up with are you saying you want to provide the service, or you want to teach people how to do it? Because if that is the case, just come up with the alias, like whatever you want your alias to be, put that on your social channels. But depending on what the course content, you're going to be building the audience first, right? Because that's the first step. So decide massage is kind of general. Are you saying massage for couples? Are you saying massage for babies? Are you saying massage for pregnant women? I'm pulling stuff all out the air. Figure out what industry, what target market you're doing. Create the content. You don't have to use your real name, create the content. Then the thing about creating content, people are going to come back to you, start to ask you questions, and want to engage more. And then you listen to them to see what they need and develop your course from that. So right now we're talking about creating the content. And if somebody just likes that you gave them a massage, they not on the internet being like, well, let me see her massage capability. They're not doing that yet. Okay. So when you decide to find out what course you're talking about, that may be a different thing. And this is the one thing that I feel like I shouldn't tell you that. Never mind. I hate it when people do that. When people are like, oh, I got something to tell you. And then they be like, never mind. I hate it when people do that. I'm sorry. I just did that to you. Don't hold it against me. All right. So yeah, just create the content, hon. You don't have to use your first name. Okay. Let's see. You are so welcome, my love. I hope it was helpful. Patricia, you are so welcome, my love. Thank you for giving us time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure. Okay. I'm out of here. Yes. So Queen Diva asks if this training will be later today or tomorrow. Honey, girl, we going live. So as soon as I hit the stop going live button, wherever that is, it's there. You can have it, and it will be there for you. So rewind this, save this video, because if it was a lot that I threw out you, I talk fast. If there was a lot I threw out at you, or if you're on one level and you don't even want to hear about the other levels until you go to this level, then you can come back to the video. This is going to be here forever for you. So go watch it. Okay, that was good. All right, so we are ending. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I hope this was helpful. And until next time, folks, till later.